This is a broadside that has been riding around on the buses in Moscow, Idaho this summer.
Mountain Sports is a sporting goods store? Is that right?
Mountain Sports, they don't know that this poem is in existence. So the scope comes from actually a fire years ago, back in 2004. We had the Fisher Fire, the Fisher Creek Fire, or the Fisher Fire, and unfortunately, as you know, the story of fire is becoming more and more prevalent in the West and in our drier months. So this poem comes from life and encountering some firefighters in Mountain Sports in Leavenworth.
Would you read it?
Sure. Firefighters walk into Mountain Sports. Straight from flames, faces soot-slapped and yellow jackets swishing, they track cinders of century-wide pines wrenched from root sockets and sucked skyward like bungled fireworks. Blazes in their ears, they shout across aisles and racks, thumbs hooked over belts with curious assurance. Whether they hold Pulaski and Shovel or Polartec and Nike, the end will come nameless, wearing the same face.
Derek Sheffield. Thanks. How long of a drive do you have into Wenatchee every day then? Half hour?
It's a half an hour. About 28 miles.
Where are we now, Derek?
So we are approaching Kashmir, and these S-curves here can be a dangerous stretch of the road in the winter, spring, because it doesn't get much sunlight between those.
Oh, the road's ice.
The road cuts right through it, so there'll be some patches of ice and things. So more than once, there's been a wreck there, blocking the road. And Kashmir has these canyons that go up. There's the Ham Canyon that we're looking at right now. There's a road that goes up there, and different houses. There's Hay Canyon, and then on the other side too, the downtown is across the river there. And there's some canyons that go up that way as well, where people are living in the valley and up on the ridges. And you can see how dry it really is. It's been one of the, I'll tell you, since we've lived here, we've seen it become demonstrably drier, and then just there's less snow falling.
Yeah.
And there's more rain. There's what happens is we get a snowfall, and then it rains on it, and that's just no fun.
Yeah.
That's part of the burn right up there. Looks like it's in shadow, but it's burn.
Okay.
And this is what they call the Sleepy Hollow Fire. Interestingly enough, I was coming back from Moscow, Idaho, the Sunday it started, at the end of June. And you can see it just right up at the top of the ridge there. And then here too, right in front of us.
Yeah.
And I saw it. See that orchard on top there? I saw the fire
Yeah.
coming down from that orchard on all sides. And I'd seen the smoke from East Wenatchee. But as I was driving by it, there were no cars. There was no sign. There was no sign of urgency of anything that anybody knew anything about it. And, it was a kind of a strange experience. And just about when I was gonna call 911, watching this fire burning, it was burning its way down all around the perimeters of that orchard. Some emergency vehicles passed me, headed that way. I was driving west. That line drawn across the ridge up there. Got a Vita Green truck behind us.
Okay.
Do you think he'll be able to do much good? Now, I believe these are the houses that burned in here. You can see remnants of the landscaping.
Yeah.
And since then, they've been all scraped clean. You can see those rocks burned up still here.
Mm-hmm.
Burned broom. But and the roots, you can see the roots of the landscaping. Everything that was here. And they've just, scraped it all and are getting ready to start anew. There's a house right at the end of that driveway. You can see some of the electrical there. Jutting out, and the holes where the foundation was. And there you go up there. Here's the foundation still in existence. Missing the tree, or missing the house. So that house right there, surrounded by those other houses, burned. Those other houses that didn't. And yeah, the ambiguity of it. The terrible chance of it. Boy, you can smell the burn, and then this lush, place there, and then that house got burned right in the middle of those two. Crept right up to the edge of this house here.
And then jumped the street too, right?
Yeah.
So
Over jumped that street over there to get that house.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
Jumped
and then
these houses here.
Jumped these houses here. And jumped about 2 miles into town and took out 2 warehouses. Which is really what astonishes me. So all that sage land up there, sagebrush, bitter brush. And this street was filled with fire vehicles. I'll just go a little ways down here in the park. Right here. Look at that strip there, Jim. That's interesting.
Yeah.
The patterns.
Yeah. Well, October sidelight makes it even more gorgeous in its desolation.
Should have brought the binoculars. Yep.
Wow.
One of the great things that has been going on, great efforts has been going on is around Wenatchee the last decade, is that all these trails have been built. We have a terrific Chelan Douglas County Land Trust buying up all this land and giving the public access to all these trails and then for bikes and hikers.
Oh, man.
And then and it's extending the trail. There's always been about a 20 miles paved trail going around the Columbia River, and they've extended that on up to the Rocky Reach Dam. So really exciting work
Yeah, it is.
happening.
Wow, what a gate too. Oh my. With this disappeared fence post. What are these birds?
I've been trying to think about that, and I have an idea. Let me check it out, see if I'm right.
Why?
Black-billed magpie.
What'd you do? Come on. There it is. Good for you.
I love this fall sun. It's a warm day, but there's a northern flicker.
Oh, it's,
This, because you know it's not going to get too hot. You know it's going to cool down.
yeah.
So here was above it was the mature lupin in June that burned, and here are the new leaves with almost no water that have grown almost no water all summer.
Yeah. Here's a threshold. A gate.
Oh yeah.
Where will language weigh in on this?
Where it can. Lupin, one of the first plants at Mount St. Helens. first plants to be growing at Mount St. Helens.
After the mountain blue.
Yep. And it was, and now there are enormous swaths of lupin, just great patches of purple flowers. And it's an important one because it fixes nitrogen in the soil. Ameliorates the soil for the other plants to follow. Sharp-shinned hawk. Almost no neck. You know, this is a game trail we're on. Of all those living things. What didn't go up in smoke.
Feather.
Mm-hmm. Really is, isn't it?
Or a leaf from a ginkgo tree.
I see that.
Yeah.
There's a book you would appreciate called Lee. It's just a little book about shapes, patterns, and natural patterns. For goodness sake, Jim, look at that. You know what that is right there?
Are you looking at this plant right here?
I'm looking at that plant. You know what that is?
What is it?
That is some asparagus.
Is that wild asparagus?
That is wild asparagus right there.
What was that like?
It was a little scary. And, you know, the thing is when I was contemplating it and thinking, what in this house do I need to make sure survives beyond our lives, it was really just the family heirlooms, the photographs, and then the poems,
Yeah.
the work. Things that couldn't be replaced.
Yeah. Firefighters walk into mountain sports. A poem by Sheffield. Straight from flames, faces soot-slapped and yellow jackets swishing, they track cinders of century-wide pines wrenched from root sockets and sucked skyward like bungled fireworks. Blazes in their ears, they shout across aisles and racks, thumbs hooked over belts with curious assurance. Whether they hold Pulaski and Shovel or Polartec and Nike, the end will come nameless, wearing the same face. One models a hat and they hoot. If they wanted, they could howl at such prices, or the well-tanned skier in search of a deal and a fit, clomping 7 times across the store and back in orange atomics. Slim and pigtailed, the girl who rips their receipts from the register is the last line they walk before flinging again comets of earth at something like the sun unhinged. From their radio, a staticky voice, the green world going black.